Price of freedom is death. We're coming to get our check.
Black first, my brothers and my sisters. Welcome to the Afro Elite YouTube channel. We have a lot to discuss, brothers and sisters. I appreciate every single last one of you all watching. Brandon Johnson is about to have his day. The day for Brandon Johnson is almost here. It's almost up because the new up-and-coming border czar, Tom Homan, is not playing any games. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, the new up-and-coming border czar is telling Brandon Johnson that the city of Chicago is literally going to be his first stop for mass deportation. We are going to have to get into it. We definitely have to get into it. Before we do, brothers and sisters, I appreciate every single last one of you all's patience. It means so very much. I appreciate you liking, subscribing, all of that stuff. We've had a big boost in subscribers, views, everything. We're doing great. I need you all to hit that like button and all that stuff while we play the disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, so we're just going to get started. Okay, so we're going to start off. This was an interview by MSNBC, giving them their full credit. You can go look it up on YouTube. It's MSNBC on YouTube. Okay, this is all fair use. This is Donald Trump talking about President-elect Donald Trump talking about his deportation plan, all right, from MSNBC. And they said some interesting things, so I want to discuss that as we go forward, because that's going to be the basis of what we discuss this evening.
Let's talk about mass deportation, one of your big agenda items. You've talked about prioritizing people who have criminal histories.
Correct.
But is it your plan to deport everyone who is here illegally over the next 4 years?
Well, I think you have to do it. And it's a very tough thing to do. But you have to have, you have rules, regulations, laws. They came in illegally. The people that have been treated very unfairly are the people that have been online for 10 years to come into the country. And we're going to make it very easy for people to come in terms of they have to pass the test. They have to be able to tell you what the Statue of Liberty is. They have to tell you a little bit about our country. They have to love our country. They can't come out of prisons. We don't want people that are in for murder. So we had 11,000 and 13,000 different estimates, 13,099 murderers released into our country over the last 3 years. They're walking down the streets. They're walking next to you and your family, and they're very dangerous.
The 13,000 figure, I think, goes back about 40 years.
No, it doesn't. No, it's within the 3-year period. It's during the Biden term. No, that was a fiction that they put that out. This was done by the Border Patrol. It's 13,099, and it's during the Biden period of time. And
I just want to pause it real quick. This is something that was going on. If you guys remember when we covered this during the debate, this was the same thing going on during the debate. Notice, I don't know if this is the same. She looks the same to me, but I don't want to say this the same woman, and it might not be the same woman. And then people be all like, Afro, what are you talking about? But that might be the same woman. But notice the constant little, this is supposed to be an interview, and notice the little fact-checking thing. Oh, no, that's been going on for 40 years. And he's like, no, it hasn't. It's been going on for 3 years. Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to make it seem as if the immigration problem is this problem that's been going on long before Joe Biden. This problem has been going on long. Now, we've had an immigrant problem, but not like this. They want to make it seem as if this immigration problem, okay, Donald Trump is going to make it seem like this is some new and unprecedented thing. But really, if you really look at it, this has been going on for decades. No, it literally has not been going on for decades. The last 4 years under the Biden administration has had an unprecedented level of immigration. It has been unprecedented. The country has not seen anything like this, even close to this, even halfway to this before. It has never seen anything like what Biden has done before, ever. Not only that, really, there's not been a nation in the world in history where they can say they've just opened the floodgates and allowed millions of people just to come in to the detriment, not to come in for labor or the work or slavery or anything, to the detriment of their own economy and to the detriment of their own citizens. There has never been a nation in recorded human history that's allowed this up until the last 3 or 4 years. Really 4 years. It's never been that way. And notice the little oh, sir, it's happened like for the last 40 years. It's like, no, it ain't. No, it hasn't. But just notice the little fact checking thing she does. Let's continue.
Murderers, many of whom murdered more than one person. You don't want those people in this country.
But you're saying something, sir, that's significant.
I think it is. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, and I haven't even thought about it until right now. I think what's her name? Amy. I think her name is Amy. But Amy worked for ABC, right? And this is MSNBC. I don't know, man. I don't know. She looked the same to me. I don't know.
I just want to make sure I'm clear, which is that you're saying, yes, you're going to focus on the people with criminal histories, but everyone who's here illegally has to go.
I'm saying this. We have to get the criminals out of our country. We have to get people that were taken out of mental institutions and put them back into their mental institution, no matter what country it is. Do you know that Venezuela, their prisons are at the lowest point in terms of emptiness that they've ever been? They're taking their people out of those prisons by the thousands, and they're drunk. And just to get back, because I know exactly what you're getting at. Number one, we're doing criminals, and we're going to do them really rapidly. We're getting the worst gang probably with MS-13, and the Venezuelan gangs are the worst in the world. They're vicious, violent people. And you see what they've done in Colorado and other places. They're taking over, literally taking over apartment complexes and doing it with impunity. They don't care. They couldn't. They just are. They're in the real estate business.
You know, the local police say that is not the case in Colorado.
Oh, it's totally the case. I mean, you
don't believe the local police.
I play it. I used to play it at my rallies every single night. No, it was.
Okay, we're gonna pause it right here. Some people in the chat room saying it's not her, it is her. At the end of the day, she's of the same ilk. She's doing the same thing, whether that's the exact same woman or not. She's doing the exact same thing. Now, Trump just brought up a very interesting point. Trump just said that the immigrants in Colorado are taking over apartments, and she's all like, oh, well, the local police said that's not the case. The local police said that's not the case. This is why nobody listens to MSNBC anymore. This is why nobody listens to the mainstream media like that anymore. Because when it was going on, the mainstream media literally refused to report on it. Didn't talk about it at all. It had to go viral on independent platforms. Like, I guess you could say TikTok, because, I mean, that's not like owned by the corporations as of yet. But TikTok, it went super viral on TikTok where people were taking their phones, recording their stories about, hey, I just kind of got ran out of my apartment that I just paid for. They just renovated the apartment. I got ran out of my apartment, and there's immigrants all in the apartment. That went on viral on TikTok. It went to YouTube. It went all over social media. And then eventually the mainstream media had to pick up on it and be like, there's a little truth to that, I suppose. That's what they did. These are the images. These are the images of them up here. Not only do we have images, brothers and sisters, not only do we have that, I want to show you this small little video. Look at this. Look at this. You see that? That gun got a scope on it and everything. Where are they getting that type of artillery from? I thought these people are from a third world. And I thought these people left their homes out of poverty. And they don't have any food and any water. And I thought these people could barely live in the conditions that they were in, and they're coming here with one flip-flop and a sock, and they don't have a dime to their name, and they're just coming here to work because they're such hard-working people and such law-abiding people. Look at that weapon. That's not even a weapon you see the average American having. Most of the average people in America who own a gun, they own some type of handgun, or they might own a shotgun. That's it. Or even if the ones who do own a rifle, they don't own a scope. They don't have a scope to the rifle. If you look closely, I wish I could zoom it in, but I can't. But if you look closely to where his forearm is, it looks like a stand. That looks like, maybe I'm wrong because of the picture, you can't really 100% tell, but that looks like a stand right there. Like he can literally put his gun on the floor. That's what they use with snipers. They have stands when they use stuff with snipers. He has a scope, and they use scopes with snipers. Now, I can't tell what type of gun it is. I know we got a lot of people who probably might know more about guns in the chat room, or who might listen to the playback. I'm just saying what it looks like based off this one image. Maybe there's a more clear image of that. But look, let's continue the video. Okay, the dude in the black, I want you to see the dude in the black got a gun. The dude in the right, he got a gun too. That's a handgun. This dude in the black, look at his hand. Look at his left hand. He has a gun right here. Okay, so there's 3 guys with a gun. This dude comes up with the t-shirt, start pointing the gun at the door. Okay, he walked back. Oh, no, that was fine. Okay, hold on. He had a gun in the other clip. So now I want you to see. He's up in there. They all look, all of them have guns. All of them have guns. He's pointing. I said he had a gun. That was a mistake I made. It was a phone. He's pointing because he's trying to get them to open the door. They're breaking into the house. This dude got a gun and a purse. This dude don't know what he want to be. This man has a gun and a purse. Okay, we got moist gangsters from Venezuela. Okay, but they still dangerous. The moist ones are even more dangerous. Look at them. All of them. The one in the red. All of them. Okay. The one in the black with the hat on, this one coming up the stairs, all of them got weapons in their hands. All of them have guns in their hands. Okay. Now, these are people who are allegedly from third world countries, who don't have any money, who don't have any resources, who don't have nothing. Now, it took that video to go viral. It literally took this video to go viral before the mainstream media had to concede to be like, it's a little true. It may be a little bit, but the thing is that they never, ever, ever, ever would have admitted to this. They would have never conceded to any of this had it not gone viral, because all they were doing was being all like, you guys are lying. The immigrants are not doing anything bad at all. They're not, they're the most, they follow the law more than we do. We need them more than they need us, to be honest. That's what they were saying. So when Trump said, yeah, they're taking over the apartments, and then she's all like, oh, the local police said that's not true. This is why nobody listens to y'all. Do you know? Do you understand? Do you have any type of idea how many people have seen the clip? Or at least this image, right here. Do you have any idea how many millions of people have seen this image right here? As you're going to sit here and have an interview and say, well, the local police said that they're not actually taking over the apartments. That's what the local police said. Are you okay? All right. Sure. Okay. This is why the Democrats lost, y'all. I got to say it. This is why y'all lost. But let's continue.
They're breaking into doors. They're taking over the building.
But sir, you
and by the way,
the
police are afraid to do anything.
You raised the point that the logistics are complicated. You said
Sure
it yourself.
they are, but everything's complicated.
Yeah, you mean you need 24 times more ICE detention capacity just to deport 1 million people per year, not to mention more agents, more judges, more planes. Is it realistic to deport everyone who's here illegally?
You have no choice.
And this is another point. And I just paused it, and I have to pause it again. This is a whole nother point. Now when it comes to the deportation, oh my God, I mean, that's kind of hard work. I mean, the logistics of that and all of where are the resources going to go? So you mean to tell me when they were bringing in millions of them at a time, just millions of them, no plan, no agenda, no nothing, Just bring them in and we'll figure it out when they get here. That was the plan. That's their whole agenda for the last 4 years. Nobody was sitting up here talking about the logistics of that. Is terrible, or at least the mainstream media wasn't saying that. The logistics of that, where are the resources gonna go? Oh, do we even have any resources to take care of all these people? No, they weren't saying that at all. They were saying, oh, these are people who are coming from poor neighborhoods and poor countries, and we're a welcoming country, and we're a country of immigrants, and we need to allow every single last one of them over here. That's what they were saying. So now when it comes to the deportation, now people want to pull out the paperwork, and people want to go through all of the files and the details and everything like that, and they be all like, hold on, I just, financially speaking, this mass deportation is going to be pretty expensive. You guys allowed major cities to go into debt. There is not a single city in this country that the economy of the city, I'm not talking about one or two individuals, but the economy of the city has benefited from them coming over here. Not one. Okay? Everything is more expensive now. Groceries are more expensive now. Rent is more expensive now. Everything's more expensive now because of them. Y'all coming over here, y'all going into debt, putting them in hotel rooms, y'all going into debt, putting them in shelters and everything, creating more shelters. Y'all going into debt, giving them food stamps and debit cards and all. Y'all doing that for them. And now when it comes to the deportation, now y'all want to be all like, logistically speaking, I just don't see how this is gonna work. What? Okay. All right. Now y'all want to talk about the logistics of everything.
First of all, they're costing us a fortune. But we're starting with the criminals, and we got to do it. And then we're starting with others, and we're going to see how it goes.
Who are the others?
Others are other people outside of criminals. We have convicted murders. We don't mean people that are even on trial. We have people that have murdered numerous people are on our streets and in our farms, and we have to get them out of our country.
What about dreamers, sir? Dreamers who were brought to this country illegally as children. You said once back in 2017, they, quote, shouldn't be very worried about being deported. Should they be worried now?
The dreamers are going to come later, and we have to do something about the dreamers, because these are people that have been brought here at a very young age, and many of these are middle-aged people now. They don't even speak the language of their country. And yes, we're going to do something about the dreamers.
What does that mean? And what are you going to do?
I will work with the Democrats on a plan, and if we can come up with a plan. But the Democrats have made it very, very difficult to do anything. Republicans are very open to the dreamers. The dreamers, we're talking many years ago, they were brought into this country. Many years ago. Some of them are no longer young people. And in many cases, they become successful. They have great jobs. In some cases, they have small businesses. Some cases, they might have large businesses. And we're going to have to do something with them. And
you want them to be able to stay. That's what you're saying?
I do.
Okay.
I want to be able to work something out. And it should have been able to be worked out over the last 3 or 4 years. And it never got worked out. Biden could have done it because he controlled, Congress to a certain extent, right? He could have done something, but they didn't do it. I never understood why, because they always seem to want to do it, but then when it comes down to it, they don't. I think we can work with the Democrats and work something out.
Let me ask you about another group of people, the estimated 4 million families.
Now, here's the thing with the dreamers. Trump is correct. At the point, there's a lot of people who are quote unquote dreamers or benefit from the dreamer things. When you have the idea and the image in your head of dreamers, and they deliberately did this, okay? They use specific images when they discuss dreamers. They put like a bunch of 15-year-olds, 14-year-olds, kids in their adolescence, and they'll show them in a classroom hunched over with a number 2 pencil, filling out their paperwork or filling out a test and everything like that, penciling in their answers and all that stuff. They deliberately gave you that image of these dreamers. So anytime you hear the word dreamers, you automatically think of, I'm not trying to do nothing to no 14, 15-year-old, because it makes you kind of feel some type of way by talking about deporting them. You know what I'm saying? Don't make me feel no type of way. but it make a lot, and I'm sure it don't make a lot of y'all feel no type of way. I'm sure it don't make a lot of y'all feel no type of way. You know what don't make me feel okay with it? Because I know if I, as a Foundation Black American, were over there, they do the same thing with me, and they would not blink an eye. I know if I went anywhere and they found out, hey, you're not legally supposed to be here, there's not a single country in this world that would hesitate by getting rid of me. There's not a single one of them. Okay. They would get rid of me immediately, even if I was supposed to be there. They'd get rid of me immediately. So when it comes to them, am I going to throw a pity party? No, not really. No. Am I going to be like, think about the babies? Would they think about some black babies? But anytime you think about that, I just want to ask you to think about this question. Ask it to yourself. When you talk about, think about the kids, think about the babies. If they were in your shoes, would they think about your black kids? If they were in your shoes, would they think about your black babies? Would they think about your black little boy or your black little girl? Would they think about that? Or would they say, they're not supposed to be here, they all need to go? No, goodbye. Goodbye. Take your pacifier and your diaper with you. Oh, no. So I'm just keeping the same energy. Oh, goodbye. All right. Good. Now I'll see you. All right. I'll send you a postcard. That's my energy. Because I already know what their energy is. I'm not gonna have turn the other cheek, higher moral thing. No. Feliz Navidad. All right.
In America who have mixed immigration status. So I'm talking about parents who might be here illegally, but the kids are here legally. Your borders
You're talking about separate.
I forgot the point I was making. With that, what Trump is saying is essentially you have the image of dreamers being kids. Okay, well, these kids, Obama opened up the Dreamer Initiative. This was back in Obama's administration. We're about a decade. We're well over a decade past when Obama started this whole Dreamer stuff. So kids who were like 15 then are 25 now. Kids who are 16 then are 26. These are grown adults. All right. These are grown adults. Even if they were at the time, even if all of them at the time were in their adolescence lessons, were in their teenage years, they're fully grown legal adults at this point. So we keep having this thing of, oh, they're little 14, 15-year-olds. No, they're grown adults. They're grown adults. All right. Let's be real.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are two aspects to this. Your border czar, Tom Homan, said they can be deported together. Correct. Is that the plan?
Well, that way you keep those. Well, I don't want to be breaking up families. So the only way you don't break up the family is you keep them together, and you have to send them all back. Even
kids who are here legally?
Well, what you're going to do if they want to stay with the father? Look, we have to have rules and regulations. You can always find something out like, this doesn't work, that doesn't work. I'll tell you what's going to be horrible. When we take a wonderful...
She said, even kids who are here legally, no. Look, he all like, hey, if they want to stay, they can stay. But what we're not going to do is we're not going to play this game where they be all like, okay, well, we want to stay, but we want our parents to stay with us. No, you can either go with y'all don't want to break up families, but y'all don't want to go. No. Oh, no.
Young.
Y'all can either leave as a family or y'all can be separated. Whichever one is the best choice to y'all. And most of them are going to choose to be separated. None of them care about their family that much. They be like, bye, mommy, bye, poppy. That's what they'll say. Come on now. When the kids here legally, that's a stretch. That's a stretch.
Woman who's with a criminal. And they show the woman, and she could stay by the law, but they show the woman being taken out. Or they want her out, and your cameras are focused on her as she's crying, as she's being taken out of our country. And then the public turns against us. But we have to do our job. And you have to have a series of standards and a series of laws. And in the end, look, our country is a mess.
Now, I agree with that point. And this is something that we've been saying. what they'll do, what the media do. This is why we have to all understand their tactics, their tricks, their plans, their schemes, all of their angles. We have to understand all of this stuff, because what they'll do is they'll take a whole bunch of people who are deported or who are about to be deported. They'll say, zoom into the one with the baby. They'll have a mom, okay, or a grandma. They like to have females, and they'll say, okay, get the woman with the baby, and then she'll be holding her little baby and everything like that, and they'll do an interview just with the mom and the baby, or the grandma and the baby, and then they'll ask her, or they'll tell her, oh, you got to act it up. You got to act it up. So then she'll be she'll be acting like she's shivering and everything like that, acting like it's the freezing cold. She's like, we haven't eaten in days, and now we have to go back, and we have no money, and we have no food. That's what they'll do. And everything like that. She'll sit up there and be like, we have no eaten in 2 days. We have no eaten 2 days. Well, she got a debit card full of tax-paying dollars with tens of thousands of dollars in food stamps. Now, here's the thing. All of them, what's interesting about this whole situation, hold on, I want y'all to feel me with this. What's interesting about this situation is that every single last one of them claim poverty. All of them claim poverty. All of them claim that they don't have no money, that they scraping to make ends meet, that they nickel and diamond just so they can feed their families. They don't know where the next meal is going to come from. And that's interesting, because we looking at it like, oh, then where's all those food stamps going then? See, they don't think we know about this stuff. That's why they tripping, because they be all like, we just don't have no money, and we don't have no food, and we don't have no house, and we don't have nothing. They say all of this stuff, and then we all like, yeah, well, that's interesting, because Chicago is broke taking care of y'all. So where's all this money going? Where'd all these food stamps? New York is also broke taking care of y'all. What happened to all the debit cards? Y'all got thousands of dollars in debit cards, food stamps a month. They just giving you money. Y'all in nice hotels. Y'all don't gotta pay for nothing. Okay, so y'all getting everything for free. But yet when the media shows y'all, and y'all have an interview or anything like that, they pick the one that can't speak English that well. They deliberately pick the one that can barely speak a little bit of English and everything. And they be like, we have no money, and we don't know, and I have not eaten in 2 days, and I hungry. You have food, ma'am, and everything like that. They'll pick the one that deliberately put them in kind of dirty clothes. They got nice clothes. I've seen it in person. Oh, they not dressed bad. They come off the buses when this is a camera trick. When they come off the buses, they be wearing these old clothes that look like they was made 200-300 years ago. And they be having these old clothes with holes in them and flip-flops, and the socks be dirty and mishmash and everything like that. They get out of there, change their clothes in their nice 5-star hotel room, wearing straight Gucci. Wearing straight, they got a whole Nike jumpsuit. Okay, with the hat and the watch and everything. Man, they get out of here. They act like they don't, wearing a scarf and a coat that's way too big for them and everything like that. You got a little kid in an adult coat. They get out the coat. They got on straight North Face. They got name brand from top to bottom. So no, all of that claim, they be claiming poverty, and we looking like, okay, well, how is the city broke paying for y'all, and y'all claim y'all not eating? How is the city broke paying for y'all, and y'all claim y'all don't have nothing? And this is what they do. They these poor little babies. And what's interesting about that is we've really shut that down. Us, I have, y'all have. We have shut that down, because what we've done, especially in Chicago, shout out to the shot, when we go to City Hall, and I remember saying this on City Hall, and it went viral when I said it. y'all know that these people are not bringing over little babies and old ladies and stuff. This is what MSNBC, CNN, ABC, this is what they try to make it seem like. They're bringing in the old little baby, I said old little babies, old little ladies, and with babies and everything like that. And the old lady got a hunchback and she walking with a cane and she got the baby in her hand. They may be making it seem like that in the news. And I said, no, because when we actually look at the real data and look at the real statistics of everything, most of these people are men my age, maybe a little bit older. They're not old men. They're not old men. These are men within their younger than 50, about from their 50s to their teenage years. These are men who are like above the age of 16 up until the age of 50. Majority of them are men in that gap. These are men who don't have no families. These are men who are not coming over with families, not coming over with wives, not coming over with kids, coming over by themselves. So when we say that stuff, that defeats the whole mainstream narrative of, oh, look at what about the baby? What about the little old lady? You gonna deport grandmama? Y'all gonna deport grandmama? No, we're not gonna deport grandmama, even though we are, but we gonna deport Javier and Hector and Jose. That's who y'all bringing over here. Y'all bring over 5 Jose's. They a lot of them have a lot of the same name. 5 Jose's, 10 Javiers, 20 Hectors, and then 1 little abuela, and then be all like, well, look at the abuela. You come deport the abuela. Look at the abuela. How could you do such? No. We not playing that game. We are not playing that game at all. Okay. Shout out to every single last one of y'all. We still got more to cover. Let me get to, I know y'all been gracious with the super chats. Let me get to DSB sends a super chat. He says, Salam Afro Elite and family in the chat room. Thank you very much, brother. He sends a $10 one, then he sends a $20 one, then he sends a $50 one. He says, I mean, he just generous. Okay. He says, facts, keep bringing that truth, my warrior brother. Thank you very much. I definitely will and appreciate that. Appreciate your support. And then he sends a $10 one out here trying to break a record. Okay, says they definitely done that many times in their country, and this is what the Democrats let in. This is true. This is who they let in. These are the deceitful tactics of the mainstream media. Josh sends a super chat saying, now you guys have been falling. Now you guys know we have been feeling in Los Angeles about illegal immigration for years. I know. Shout out to the LA community. Shout out to the LA family. Says, this is the only reason I voted Trump. They all must go. I know, because I know Los Angeles. I know in LA, with Greg Abbott and all of, because that's liberal. I think that's probably the most liberal city in America. I think. I would argue probably is. I'm sure it is. You know what I'm saying? So the immigration there is crazy. Plus, y'all already, the immigrants who are already in power, the Hispanics who are already in power, hate the blacks. So yeah, I mean, you had an agenda. I understand it. I do understand. DSB sends another one again saying, I mean, he's just being generous, ain't he? Saying they be standing around everywhere in the Greensville, Mississippi, holding signs. Yeah, they do. And now I want you to keep this in mind. That's a good point. Let me get on that. I want you to keep this in mind. They would never allow us as foundational Black Americans. They wouldn't allow you, all of the Black women in the chat room, they wouldn't allow you to take your baby and to be outside in the cold with your baby holding up a sign saying, we hungry, please give food. They wouldn't do that, because what they would do is they would look at you and they would look at your baby and say, well, ma'am, you have a baby. The baby is not eating. Clearly you can't provide for your own baby, so what we need to do is we just need to take the baby from you. You are incapable of providing for this child. This child is not being nourished properly because you do not have the finances to take care of this child, ma'am. So the child is best fit in our custody. The child is better over here. So they would take your baby away. While they sitting up there, they be having a whole bunch of kids just sitting on the side of the street. Now, it's crazy. All the resources go to their community, but ain't none of them get no money. That's just the weirdest thing to me. Okay, ain't none of them got no money. All the resources go to them, but they sitting on the side of the street. They got kids and everything like that, and they be, we hungry. We don't got no food. Panhandling, straight up panhandling, and nobody says nothing. Nobody says nothing. All right. So this is why the immigration wave is coming, and it's coming strong. And Tom Homan not playing no games. Tom Homan and Donald Trump, y'all. Tom Homan and Donald Trump are locked in. They are locked in on this immigration thing. They are not playing any games. They're saying, you know what? It's time for us to get rid of all this stuff. Biden messed y'all up. We're going to fix this, whether y'all like it or not. But y'all, Brandon Johnson ain't going for it. Brandon Johnson is not going. What Brandon Johnson is saying is Brandon Johnson is going to fight back against them. He says he's going to stand up and stand tall against the mass deportation is what he's saying. All right. That's what he believes. That's what he's saying. Now, I played this before. I'm going to play this again.
Wondering if you foresee any type of conflict with the Chicago Police Department and the usual suspects that in the past challenged the rules of the sanctuary city.
Yeah, I think that came up before, and I don't believe I answered it as thoroughly as I should have. Thank you for bringing that back. Look, our police department already has, a heavy lift, and we continue to ask our police departments not.
Do you think the lift? Let me just ask. Do you think the lift is lighter? Do you think what you've done made the lift lighter or more heavy? Do you think what you've done made the job for the Chicago police easier, or do you think it made it more difficult by allowing millions of them to come over here illegally? Because now you can't blame Greg Abbott at this point. You can't blame Joe Biden even all the way because you are complicit. Because when and this is why I keep bringing it up, because I keep wanting people to remember this, because if people forget it, it'll be like, well, there was nothing we can do. And I already know that's the angle that the Democrats want to go in, especially Brandon Johnson wants to go in. There was just nothing we can do. This is why I consistently bring up when Chicago had the referendum to get rid of the sanctuary city on the table and would allow the actual citizens of the city to vote on that. I remember I was at City Hall that day, both the days when they canceled it the first time and the second time. I was there both. There was almost fights breaking out. And I was there. This was like a couple years ago. And when we had the referendum that was kind of on the table, Brandon Johnson and them took it off the table. They said, no, we're not going to do that. And you ain't heard nothing about a sanctuary city referendum, even though it was non-binding. You have not heard a single thing about their referendum since then. You haven't heard it since then. So we don't want to hear it's been a sanctuary city before. It's not like I made it a sanctuary, because that's their whole thing. Oh, well, Harold Washington, really? It was really Harold Washington all the way back then. It ain't really got nothing to do with me. It was a sanctuary city before I got here. No, because this problem did not exist back during Harold Washington's time. It didn't exist even 5 years ago, 10 years. It didn't exist. It existed. Now, I will be honest. The problem started with Lori Lightfoot. The problem didn't start with Brandon Johnson, okay? I remember because I was reporting it when Lori Lightfoot was still in office. It started with Lori Lightfoot. Didn't start with Brandon Johnson. Brandon Johnson is just the one who's all like, okay, well, we'll just put it on turbo boots. We'll just put some rockets on it and just blow it up. That's what Brandon Johnson did. Now, the sanctuary city referendum, we have to remember all of these facts. These receipts are very important. We have to remember when the sanctuary city referendum was on the table, Brandon Johnson had already been in office. So he can't blame it on Lori Lightfoot. He can't blame it on nobody but himself. And when that failed, you did not see him or really any of the other city officials, anybody else try to bring it back. It was just dead. It was done. It was gone. It was over. And you ain't heard nothing about it since. I'm really the only one saying something about it still, years after the fact. So don't let them we're not going to let them get away with that.
just in Chicago and the state of Illinois, but across America to do more and more. It's just not sustainable. Our police department will not dub as ICE agents.
Now, he says the Chicago police already had enough. Dude, when you allow millions of criminals, now millions of them have not come to Chicago, but when you allow thousands, tens of thousands of undocumented people to come into Chicago with absolutely no plan at all, you just throwing them anywhere. They're sleeping on police floors. They sleeping at the airport on the floor. You have no agenda for them at all. And you are refusing to stop the buses. He didn't stop the buses till very recently. And even still, the buses pull up to the edge of Chicago and then let them take the train. And then when the train takes them in the city, they can't get them out. So technically, the buses have stopped, but technically, the buses haven't stopped, if we're going to be honest with it. All right. But even if Johnson says he can't do anything to stop the buses from coming to the outskirts of Chicago, he allowed buses, tens of buses to come in, okay, through most of his administration, okay? He's taking money out of a whole bunch of other things to give to them specifically. And you allow millions of them to come over here like that, and you have no plan. Do you think that's not going to make it harder for the police? Do you think when they go into jail, and then they come out of jail and they commit a crime and they go in and they get a reconnaissance bond and then they get let out, and they go in and they get let out and they change their names and they get let out and they break into a store and they get let out and they off somebody and they get let out? Do you think that makes the job for the police easier or more difficult? What do you think makes the job easier? Allowing them to come in or getting them out? Why you say, oh, the job for the police is hard enough? Yeah, you would know because you allowed them to come over. Now you want to say our police won't dub as ICE agents, which is not what anybody is saying. I'm going to let them finish, and then we're going to break it down some more.
That's just, we're not going to do that. And it's a dangerous precedent where members of communities begin to feel unsafe with their local police department, right? We're already working to restore confidence and trust in our local police department. The last thing we need is members of community feel like they...
First off, he's not talking about anybody black. The last thing, no, what he's saying is that he doesn't... Translation, let me translate it for you, okay? Because I've listened to this BS long enough to be able to translate. Let me translate what he's saying. He is saying that we are not going to have illegal immigrants be in fear of ICE raiding into their homes or shelters, deporting them. Not, oh, we don't want the community, he says communities, illegals, to feel unsafe. Well, what would they feel unsafe? I don't feel unsafe by ICE. I see the ICE walk by, be like, hey, ICE, what's up? Hey, let me talk to you. I heard some things that around the corner. I just want to let you know. That's me. Let me ask y'all a question. Do you guys feel comfortable with ICE, or do you guys fear that ICE is going to deport you too? If you all feel comfortable with ICE, if you guys don't fear deportation, put the ice cube emoji in the chat room. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I don't fear deportation. I don't even know anybody who I could think of that would be deported. I'm going to be very, I literally do not know nobody who would be deported. Everybody I know will be fine. I'm going to be fine. They're going to be fine. Everybody I know. I already see a bunch of ice cubes in the chat room. We all going to be fine. Why you sitting up there like, I don't want the communities, illegals, to fear immigration? No, we're going to be okay. As a matter of fact, we were the ones pushing for them to get out of here. So we're going to be more than comfortable. We're going to be happy to see them come. You know how you had a little kid who would stare out the window, open up the blinds and everything like that to see when the ice cream truck would come by? He would be looking at that little clock on the microwave, being like, oh my God, it's 2:00, and be like looking through the little blinds and everything like that. And when he hears the music from across the street, he'd be like, oh, it's the ice cream man. That's how we're going to be. Yep, that's how we're going to be. We're gonna be looking through the blinds and everything like that, like, oh, it's ice, and we be run outside, and we're gonna run outside, ice. Listen, okay, my neighbor at 2:00, okay, at 2:00 in the morning, my neighbor be housing them and everything. You gotta spin back, okay, be here about 1:50. You can park in my garage. 1:50. When they come over here, I'm gonna let you know. I got my alarm clock set up and everything like that. They be playing loud music anyway, so I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna wake you up. You can park in my garage and everything. I already got some food in the house. You know, that's us. Man, listen, if you want to build a bond between us and any type of law enforcement agency, ICE is going to be that. That's all I'm saying. If it's going to be anything, it would be ICE. We're going to be looking at it like it's the ice cream man.
You can experience a raid from a local police department on behalf of a tyrant. Look, here's what I would encourage President Trump to do. This is what I would encourage him to do. Work with Congress to come up with significant immigration reform policy. Like, we can actually do that. President Biden was working on that, got bipartisan support in the Senate, and then the House blocked it. And the president-elect exercised his power to stop policy from being enacted. Now he has the ability to actually do something of substance and value versus just to continue to make threats. Like, to me, it's just a waste of power. Like, imagine me as mayor of the city of Chicago and I just start threatening people all the time. Would you even want to come to those press conferences? Well, maybe it requires. That's what I'm doing. That's what my administration is doing. We are
Brandon, you don't want to talk about what you be doing. Because low-key, we need a whole nother stream, and that's something I'm already kind of planning on and working on, to be honest. We need a whole nother stream, because there's just so much going on with Chicago right now. I can't even break it down in this one whole stream. But we need a whole nother stream, because there's been a lot going on with the budget and everything. But, Brandon, you don't want to be talking about what you be doing.
Standing up for people. We're not threatening people. That is one of the most, iniquitous forms of governance that I've ever seen. Right? And particularly for these United States of America, where we have had to live through threats. Look, I'm a descendant of slaves.
I knew he was going to say that. I don't know why it caught me off guard. I knew he was going to say that. We have had to live through threats. No, now this is him trying to tie illegal immigrants who are voluntarily breaking the law to come to this country. Nobody is forcing them to leave their country. I mean, they traveling a long distance. They traveling because a lot of them are coming from Venezuela. Venezuela is not even the neighboring country. So they skipping over several countries to come here. Nobody's making them do that. There's nobody, not the cartel, not anybody. No, to be honest, I mean, the doors are open, but they're not even welcome. It's not like we're saying, oh, we got jobs and everything like that for you. They just see an opportunity and they're taking it. So all of the threats and stuff like that, threat of what? Threat of going home? He's saying threat. Now, what I don't like and what I find very, very despicable is because my people can't say the same for him, can't say the same for Brandon. But my people, when my people face threats, those were life and death threats. Those were threats where you were alive on Monday and you were not alive on Tuesday. You did not make it from Monday to Tuesday. Those are the threats that we had to go through, that my people had to go through, that your people had to go through, that your grandpa and your grandma had to go through. These are our threats, not going home. That's not the threat. You get kicked out of a country you're not supposed to be in and you go home. That's the threat that he's trying to tie us to. Our threat, okay, what our people had to go through, the threat our people had to go through was if you had a nice house, if you were able to make it as a black family and have a nice house, somebody could just be all like, you know what? Let's just lynch them. And they could just do it and get away. That's our threat. That's the threat that we had to go through. The threat that we had to go through is when we talk about getting it out the mud, there's not a single group of people in recorded human history that has known getting it out the mud like foundational Black Americans. Not one. Challenge me on that. I'm gonna beat you. I promise. Not a single group of people on this planet knows getting it out the mud like we do. And why I say that is because there has not been a global system globally of white supremacy that has oppressed anybody and focused the target. The main point of that has been on foundational Black Americans ever before. So that's how I know it's a fact, because all other systems of oppression were local, maybe national to a degree. None of them were global except for this system. And we're the main victims of it. We're the main targets. I'm gonna say we're the main targets of it. Okay. We're the one that they put the most pressure on. All right. So that's how I know we get it out the mud more than anybody else. So imagine your great-great-grandfather, your great-great-grandmother, they barely get to go to school. This is when we're just coming out of reading, was literally a death sentence for Black people. So your great-great-grandfather, your great-great-grandmother, just learning how to read, just learning how to do math and, get some type of education, and then they start up a business. They got a little mom and pop shop or whatever the case is. They got they sell clothes, they sell shoes, they got some good things going for them. And they go to bed one night and they wake up and all of their stuff is burned down. It's just in flames. The whole building is just in flames, burnt to a crisp, just burnt to a crisp. They go to the local police department. The police said, hey, there's nothing we can do. We don't help Negroes anyway. We don't help Negroes anyway. Bye. This is what getting it out the mud was and threats was to us. Imagine building that up. You and your our grandpa and our grandma had to spend 5 years, 10 years to build up a business, go to sleep one night, wake up one night, it's burned down, and ain't nobody can do anything. The insurance don't want to help with nothing. You just got to start over again. This is what, when you talk about building threats, nobody knows what literally you building something and then somebody can just wipe it off the board and then you got to start over again. You build something, somebody wipe it off the board, you got to start over again. This is what we have had to go through, foundational Black Americans, not them. We've had to go through starting over again and starting over again and starting over again and starting over again. That's what Tulsa, Oklahoma was. This is what Rosewood was. This is what Bruce's Beach was. This is what all of these massacres were. This is what all of these massacres, this is what that was. And you want to compare that. This is the disrespectful part. You want to compare that to some adults, because they're not like kids. They're not old ladies. They're not fleeing a war zone. They're really not. They're just like, hey, we're broke. America got the bag. Let's go to America. And then if we go back home, you want to compare that to our threat. You want to find some way to link that to us. No, that's disrespectful. These people ain't going through nothing that, number one, our people went through, and number two, they don't deserve. They don't deserve. They ain't going through nothing. They couldn't live a day in our ancestors' shoes. They couldn't live a day.
Living through threat.
Then hold on. Then he talk about, I'm a descendant of slaves. Let me take that back.
States of America, where we have had to live through threats. Look, I'm a descendant of slaves. Living through threat is painful. It's why the migration to some extent took place.
Now he says he's a descendant of slaves. Now he's saying that because us, as we've been delineating a lot, so we've been making it clear, like, hey, a lot of y'all up in these offices and a lot of y'all in these political positions, y'all tethers in these political positions. So this was his way of kind of covering it a little bit. I'm a descendant of slaves without like acknowledging the term FBA. But then that's not, I'm gonna be honest with you, that don't make him FBA. Slavery was in a lot of places outside of America. Word on the street. Now, I have not said this publicly because I have not confirmed this independently. I haven't. All right. Word on the street, I'm hearing he's from Haiti. This is what I'm hearing. I got to double check that. I don't know, but I got to double check. Not going to lie to you. Does make sense. It does make sense that he's from Haiti or or his people are from some other country. Does make sense, but maybe not the case. But regardless, there was slavery in Haiti. There was slavery in Jamaica. Slavery all in the South America. All over South America. So him saying, "Hey, I'm a descendant of slaves," well, where's the American part though? That's what I'm waiting on. Where's the American part? That don't make you a descendant of Americans. See, this is why the term foundational Black American matters so much, because the American word is in there. Because when they say, "Hey, I'm a descendant of slaves," well, where though? That's the thing. Where exactly? Somebody's in the chat room, he Cuban. I have to independently verify that. I don't know. A lot of people have asked me that for years. I don't know, and I'm not going to say he's from here, and I don't know if he's from here just to give some type of views or something. I don't know. It makes sense to me, though. All right? But just him saying, "I'm a descendant of slaves," whether that's true or not, that don't prove anything. And even if you were, it doesn't give you any type of right to do what you're doing.
Where blacks from the South were threatened by political leaders in the South, threatening to hang people, threatening to lynch people.
Now, ain't this what I just said? Ain't this what I just said?
Like, those threats have real consequence. And my people know what that's like to experience those threats. Why would I want anybody else to experience that?
A lot of people in the chat room saying he's Haitian. That's what I've heard. I've heard that a lot. Maybe. But he said, lynch people, hang people, all of this stuff. Who from the Venezuelan community is getting lynched and hanged? By who? Who's hanging them? Who's lynching them? He's a confirmed okay. I gotta confirm that. I can't have nobody else say it. I gotta confirm it. Okay. Who is getting lynched and hung? Nobody's getting lynched and hung. None of these immigrants, they're just getting sent home. That's it. He's sitting up there trying to throw a little pity party and make it seem like, "Oh, look at what we've gone through, and we don't want nobody else to go through what we've gone through, so we should have some type of empathy for them." No, because they're not going through 1/10 of what we had to go through. That's number one. Number two, they're not here legally. And when they get deported, that's not going to happen when they go home. They're not going to be racially targeted when they go home. That's not what's going to happen. So all of this stuff is to make us get off of the deportation energy, but that's not going to happen. So he's saying he's going to fight back against Tom Homan. Tom Homan don't appreciate that. Not one bit. So this is what Tom Homan had to say.
Cities who want to attack me every day so you can put roadblocks up, you're not going to assist us. Shame on you. Shame on any elected representative, any congressman, council person, any mayor, any governor who don't want to remove public safety threats from your community, and they're here illegally. That is your number one responsibility, is protect your communities. So if you're not going to do it, President Trump and ICE will. The mayor of Chicago, not a real bright guy, says Tom Homan isn't welcome in Chicago. Well, guess where Tom Homan's going to be day one? Chicago, Illinois. Oh boy. You don't want me there? Come get me. The people of Chicago have spoken. I went there a few weeks ago. The black community's upset. The whole community's upset because...
I just want you to peep. The first thing he said, the black community is upset. He said, I went there a few weeks ago. I wish I could find the full video, but I could not find the full video. But he did come to Chicago. Now, this video is like a week maybe old. So he went to Chicago after the election, like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And he said the first thing he said, the black community is upset. You had Miss Jackson and them. They went there and they met him personally. All right. And they discussed the situation with immigration personally with him. All right. So that's the very first, the black community is upset because I want y'all to understand, this is what we have done. We have been the ones who've been calling out this immigration thing more than anybody else. Everybody else, Ms. Jackson is in the room. Everybody else has gotten on our bandwagon. Okay. There's other groups of people who kind of said a little bit of something like that, but listen to this. How many videos of City Hall went viral in the last couple years? Okay. I've gone viral. Miss Jackson's gone viral. Zoe's gone viral. My brother Dave's gone viral. Danny's gone viral. We've not just been on Fox News. We've been on Forbes. We've been all over other people's independent channels. We've been all over TikTok, all over Instagram. We've been all over, especially Twitter. Don't get me started. Millions of views. City Hall, millions of views off of one video. Okay. Even Sister Doris has gone viral. Okay. Several times. Mr. Blakemore also several times. How many of them have not been black? I'll wait. Hold on. I'll wait. All of the viral videos in Chicago where we're calling out illegal immigration have been who? Have been what? Have been black. All of them. All of them. You got a clip here or there that might do well of maybe a Latino saying something. That might do well of maybe a white person saying something. But the ones that do the biggest numbers, the ones that have the most influence, the ones that have the farthest reach have all been black. All of them. All of them have been black. The black community in Chicago has been the one who've been pushing first off, Chicago's been the main focus of the immigration thing, period. All right. Even more than New York, and Chicago and black Chicago has been the only people doing anything about it. So black Chicago has pretty much put all of the immigration on our back and then carried it the whole way through, carried it all the way down the field to a touchdown. We've done that. We've done touchdown after touchdown after touchdown after touchdown, and it's all been us. We've been the only ones doing it. This is why Tom Homan, he didn't even think it's not like that was a scripted thing. He didn't even think to say that. That just came instinctively. Oh yeah, I talked to the black people. That's the first thing he said. That's the very first thing he said. Take it back. Let y'all listen to that again.
The people of Chicago have spoken. I went there a few weeks ago. The black community's upset. The whole community's upset because violent crime is up. And millions of dollars in public services are being given to people who are not supposed to be here. Meanwhile, the tax-paying community that is in a bad way because the Biden administration's economic plans, they're getting robbed every day by giving millions of dollars to people who aren't supposed to be here. That's not the way it's supposed to be, folks. It's not okay to be in this country illegally. It's not okay to enter this country illegally. It's a crime to enter this country illegally. Now, let me continue to educate sanctuary cities. You want to not help? Fine. Shame on you. If you don't want to protect your communities, shame on you. But we're going to do it for you. You're not going to stop me. We're coming. So put up all the roadblocks you want, because we'll knock them down.
Yep. Look, not only are they going to keep it going, they're going to get a lot more help. They're going to get a lot more help and a lot more support than Brandon Johnson is anticipating. So now what he's trying to do, now what Brandon Johnson's trying to do is he's trying to merge the homeless shelters and the immigrant thing. So he's closing down a lot of the shelters because the shelters are going to be easy targets. That's what he's thinking. The shelters are going to be easy targets because the only people who are going to be in those shelters are going to be illegals. That's the only people. So his idea is, okay, what we can do is we can fuse the homeless shelters and we can fuse the illegals, and that's going to make the deportation process a little bit more difficult. That's the whole idea, because they haven't been doing that for the last 3 years, 3 and so years. They haven't been doing that at all. But now all of a sudden, because they know Trump is getting the deportation thing going, now all of a sudden, now they like, you know what? If we fuse the deportation illegals and then we fuse the homeless, you know what I'm saying? When they come in, the illegals don't have paperwork, but the homeless don't have paperwork either. So it makes it a little bit more difficult, because you don't want to deport nobody homeless. Oh, that would be a bad look for ICE and for Donald Trump. So they got to be very careful not to deport an actual citizen, because Lord have mercy, the news would eat that up. So listen, what they're doing. Why? Look at this. Okay. Chicago Unified Shelter System expands capacity to 6,800 beds for migrants and homeless. I'm gonna play this little clip.
New Year fast approaching, Chicago is closing the chapter on its new arrivals mission. With just one migrant shelter left to close, the city's rolling out a new streamlined process for unhoused individuals. Casey Cronus is here with the details tonight.
Scott and Terrence, officials say the process will be more equitable, placing migrants and the city's homeless population in the same housing system. The city and state are teaming up to bring the total number of shelter beds in Chicago to nearly 7,000.
Our goal is to have a system that is able to support them all.
After launching its new arrivals mission 2 years and 4 months ago and welcoming nearly 52,000 migrants from the southern border.
The need for...
Now, hold on. Did you see what I was saying about the clothes? Remember I said that earlier in the live stream? The clothes that they be wearing, they look like poor people clothes. Look at this.
For a separate
I'm going to take it back a little bit.
Only happen.
It's just so convenient that the camera was right there to catch them getting off the bus.
Order.
The need for a separate shelter system only happened because of the chaotic, unpredictable, and fast-paced nature of the buses being sent to Chicago.
The long-standing migrant landing zone at Polk and Des Plaines is now officially closed.
Let me ask y'all a question. Do these look like old little ladies to y'all? Let me take it back a couple seconds ago.
Closed, along with dozens of shelters
look like old
that were
ladies?
at Polk.
Do these look like old ladies with little babies? Or do these look like grown ass men? See, this is what the news will slip up and give you this for like two seconds, 2.5 seconds. These ain't no little old ladies and no old crippled blind men with no babies. These are grown men.
And Des Plaines is now officially closed, along with dozens of shelters that were once filled to capacity.
There's a bigger community now in Chicago. People have more resources with friends or family, and some of them have been working already and saving up funds, and so we're able to self-resolve.
One last migrant shelter on Elston will go dark by New Year's Eve. 5 others will be merged into the new program called the One System Initiative.
There were some concerns around seeing a growing number of people on the street, on encampments, a lot of very kind of dire things, but we have not seen those materialize.
To streamline the merger, a brand new Shelter Placement and Resource Center, or SPARC, is now open. It's where the process will start. Located at the old Halsted Street Migrant Shelter in Pilsen, it's available 24/7 to any adult who needs a roof over their head.
It will have 200 beds.
Now
so if shelter is not available, up to 200 people could also up to 200. So if shelter is not available, up to 200 people. 200.
That's where the homeless people sleep, and I know because I've seen it in person. This stuff is where the homeless people sleep. The homeless people be sleeping outside.
Beds.
These environments and everything
so
like that, these little tents and stuff like that on the side of the street and the expressway, and then all this is where homeless people sleep. When you see tents and stuff like that just under a bridge, those are not immigrants sleeping under bridges. Those are not immigrants. Those are legit citizens who are homeless, sleeping under bridges and in between little alleys and stuff like that, and right next to garbage dumpsters. Those are citizens while they in hotel rooms. The illegals in hotel rooms.
It will have 200 beds. So if shelter is not available, up to 200 people could also sleep there until a shelter placement is available.
Look, hold on. Take another look, because that's the last time they're gonna
Families
show it.
and youth,
Take a look, another
families
look.
and families and
Available.
How many kids do you see in that image? Take a real close look. I wish I could get the pause thing off. How many children do you see in this image? I don't see a lot of children. I don't see any children. How many old people? Now, of course, we can't really tell their age at this angle. We don't really know. Ain't none of them walking around with a cane. None of them are hunchback. None of them are walking around with a walker. Ain't none of them on a wheelchair. Okay. All of these look like grown, able-bodied, military-age men. This is who they are. These are adult males. All right. This is who they are. So they'll show you this. Now, there's a couple of females here, but this is the most of the. I see more males than females in this image. I can literally count on my hand how many females I see. I can't count on my hand how many males I see. And you scratch off the officer. I'm talking about the illegals. There are more males than females in this image right here. And every time you see it, you see more males than females. While they sitting up there, want you to have some type of pity party for them.
Families and youth experiencing homelessness are encouraged to call 311 for shelter placement. And instead of waiting at Spark, they will be directed to Shield of Hope on Christiana Avenue or a DFSS drop-in center. We've got more details online.
No, nope. Let me get this off because I already know they're going to start playing the next video. See? This whole tactic is a tactic from Brandon Johnson because he understands he's rushing them there because he completely understands it's going to be a lot more difficult to keep them in the city if there's a whole immigration thing. That's where ICE is going to go. ICE is going to go there, say anybody and everybody in this building gotta go. This is what Tom Homan and ICE is going to say. So Brandon's idea is I'm going to make it difficult. Try to make it impossible, but I'm gonna make it as difficult as I possibly can by merging them. And then next thing you know, all of them are going to be homeless because this is what they do with the words right now. And this is something they're doing at City Hall right now. What they're doing is they're not even calling them illegal. Well, they've never called them illegal migrants. They're not calling them asylum seekers anymore. They're not calling them migrants anymore. Okay, they don't even call them that anymore. They start changing the names and the terms that they refer to them as. At first they called them asylum seekers, and then when we start getting out there talking about no, technically they're not asylum seekers, then they just called them new arrivals. They started switching it up and started calling them new migrants and then new arrivals and stuff like that. So now one of the things that they're doing, they're just referring to them as unhoused. They're literally just referring to them as, oh, these are just the unhoused. And who are homeless? Homeless people are unhoused. So now when you go into a shelter, when Tom Homan and ICE go into a shelter and they try to get out the illegals, all of them, citizen or non-citizen, are going to be unhoused. That's the term. Somebody in the chat room said it too. They already know the game. They're all unhoused. They be switching up the terms. It was asylum seeker. Then when it was migrant, and then it was new arrival. Now it's the unhoused. Okay. And we have to house all of the unhoused. So this is Brandon Johnson's little plan. This is not going to work. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. I'm going to tell you something, because these, just because somebody homeless don't mean that a lot of people homeless, they might have drug or mental issues, and that's unfortunate for them. But I'm gonna tell you, a legal citizen who is homeless versus an illegal alien sticks out like a sore thumb. You might try, honestly, you might think that you're stalling, but you're only prolonging the inevitable. And then honestly, how long are you even prolonging that? Honestly, how long do you even think you're prolonging that? Do you think a foundational Black American man who's homeless looks like a Guatemalan who's homeless? You think that ICE is going to get those two confused? I'm going to tell you something. These homeless people, they're going to be able to pull out IDs and paperwork. They're going to tell you where their grandma grew up and what high school their mama went to. They're going to be telling you all of that stuff. They're not going to get confused. You can prolong it, make the process a little bit more difficult, a little bit, which I wouldn't do. Because Tom Homan says that, hey, you know, with Trump getting in office, the Department of Justice and everything, you're housing illegal aliens. We're trying to deport them. You're housing them against the orders of the president and of the border czar. So we can prosecute you. So if I was Brandon, I wouldn't do that. But Brandon has done everything I wouldn't do. So he probably is going to do that. But the whole fusing them and merging them together, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. You're not going to be able to confuse nobody. This person don't know English, and this person is a veteran. You think you're going to get them confused? No. Come on now. No. And they need to go because they're a danger to society. I'm sure you all have seen or heard about this situation where you had an illegal immigrant. Now, I want you to keep this in mind. This is New York, which is very interesting. But you had an illegal immigrant randomly. Now, nobody knows about this woman except for the fact that she's homeless. The reports are saying that this woman is homeless, and this illegal immigrant just walked up to a homeless woman in the subway and set her on fire. Took a match out his pocket and just set this woman on fire. All right. Burned to death. Now let's look at what. Now I want you guys to hear. Now these are the people that Donald Trump is talking about. He's talking about these are criminals coming into Chicago, Colorado, breaking into apartment buildings. All right, terrorizing people. They're ruining the city. They're coming on buses for absolutely no reason, setting women on fire. Now, what's interesting about this is what CNN had to say. I want y'all to listen.
Details about the brutal burning death of a woman on a New York subway. A short time ago, the suspect was arraigned in court. And according to testimony from police officers.
Let me give y'all a hint. Don't just listen to what is said. Listen to what is not said.
On the scene, he allegedly set fire to the sleeping woman's clothing and, quote, fanned the flames by waving a shirt around her.
CNN's Gloria Pasmino joins us now.
Now, nobody's really talking about that. Just listen to that. Not only did he set her on fire, he fanned the flames. He literally set her on fire and then took a shirt and was doing like this to make the flames get bigger. A lot of people didn't know that, but yet that's what he was doing, just to make sure she was completely engulfed in flames, that she couldn't just take the clothes off real fast or whatever. He literally fanned the flames so it was all over her body, and there was nothing she could do.
Now from New York, Gloria, what more are you learning?
Yeah, Danny, Erica, we're getting more details because just a short while ago, the suspect in this case was actually arraigned. He appeared in front of a judge in Brooklyn Criminal Court, and it was there that we got an opportunity to learn some of the details that were reported by the detective that initially investigated this incident. It happened early on Sunday morning, and as we've been reporting, there was a man who now stands accused of murder in the first degree who approached a woman who was asleep inside of a subway car. He pulled a lighter out of his jacket pocket and lit her on fire. That woman died.
Now, CNN, I'm going to make it bigger for y'all so y'all can see. CNN puts this on the screen, but they don't say this verbally. They have it on the screen. He's from Guatemala. He has already been deported before and was able to sneak back into the country after already being deported. He returned to the United States after being deported. And why was he deported? Okay, listed as a homeless shelter and everything like that. Homeless shelters is where Brandon Johnson is trying to put all of these illegals. So these are who he's housing. These are the type of people he's housing. But they're not going to say it. They're just going to show you that in passing.
Now, the suspect was in court just a few hours ago, and we got some additional detail, including what you mentioned at the beginning, that at one point they'd have video evidence showing that the suspect actually was fanning the flames by using a T-shirt to fan the flames as the woman was becoming engulfed in fire. We've also learned that the victim's cause of death has been determined by the city's medical examiner. She died of smoke inhalation and thermal injuries. The woman who died in this incident has not yet been identified. Now, the suspect...
Now, I'm sorry. I just got to pause it real quick, y'all. They often talk about black-on-black crime. And they talk about Chicago, they talk about New York, they talk about Los Angeles, they talk about all Atlanta, they talk about all of the crime going on in the black community. And unfortunately, there is crime. We don't condone crime, but there is crime. Now, it takes a sickness in somebody's head to take like a gun and to shoot somebody and then just be fine with it. Not at war, they're not an enemy, but you kind of just beefing and you shoot some and you can go to it drains a person. It drains a person. It takes away from a person mental. These people, like, it mentally breaks a person and damages a person just to take a gun and bam, person's life is over. Even though it's quick and painless. A lot of the cases, not all the cases, but a lot of the cases. But it does take away from, it takes away from like the heart and soul just to do that, because you overpower, you know, and I'm not over justice or defending yourself or anything like that. But this is what we have. But you know what's even more sick and demented? Okay. What takes maybe somebody who was turned bad or whatever, and maybe their heart is cold, but it is there, but maybe it's cold and hard. Maybe it's damaged. But you know what has to be completely gone? Do you know what type of person you have to be? Just let's process this. Do you have any idea what type of person you have to be to take a match and to set somebody on fire? Like, we see about this in the movies and stuff like that. We hear about this in the news. We can somewhat understand, somewhat to a degree, understand somebody shooting somebody. We can almost, even though stabbing, like, because you got to stab somebody multiple times, which is worse, to be honest, is more gruesome. We could process that. Even though we don't condone it, even though it shouldn't be done, even though it's reprehensible, it can be processed. But just to take a match and see a woman sleeping, first off, to take somebody's life in their sleep just takes a level of Satanism that I just can't express. To take somebody's life in their sleep is just evil. It just really is. It's something that we can't even process. Somebody is sleeping and killing a person sleeping. We couldn't even process that. But just I want you guys to, all of this stuff is here together. Somebody is sleeping, and you can set this person on fire. You can set a human being on fire as they're sleeping, and you don't even have to know them. They didn't even do anything to you. You don't know them from a can of paint. You've never seen this woman. It's not like this was his crazy ex-girlfriend who cheated on him and left and took the house and all. It's not like that. It's nothing. She didn't owe him any money. She didn't say nothing mean to him. He doesn't know who he is. He just saw a woman as she's sleeping on the subway and just set her ablaze. just set her on fire. We can't, it's almost difficult to really digest that. And then not only that, to take a t-shirt and to fan the flames to make sure fire is all around this woman, this poor woman, as she's just sitting up here and nobody can help her. It's not like anybody's trained to deal with a person just set ablaze like that. There's smoke all over the train. People don't know what's going on or who did what. Everybody's leaving the train. So she's sitting up there by herself. Nobody can help her at all. She doesn't even know what happened. How many times do you all wake up in the middle of the night and y'all kind of wake up? And this happens to people all the time. You wake up, you don't even kind of really know where you're at. You wake up and you know, whether you got to get some water, got to go to the bathroom or something, you wake up and you just kind of like, oh, hold on. You get kind of confused a little bit, kind of dizzy a little bit. Like, oh man, I slept on the couch. I thought I was in the bed. If you wake up and you see the environment is different from where you usually wake up, you get a little bit kind of confused. Like, oh, okay, I'm in a living room. This happens in your own house. If you go to sleep in a different room, you wake up a little bit like, oh, damn. Okay, yeah. So this is the confusion that you get when you wake up. Imagine somebody, and especially if somebody wakes you up, like startles you, kind of shakes you around a little bit. You kind of wake up a little scared, kind of jumpy. Imagine waking up on fire. You're just ablaze. You're just on fire. You go to sleep and you wake up and you're burning to death. Do you have any idea what was going through that woman's head? She don't know what's going on. She probably doesn't know where she was. She just sees flames if she could see anything. And the flames are getting bigger and more hot and they're burning through her clothes. Her clothes are burning into her skin. She doesn't know what's going on. She can't breathe. All of the smoke in the air. And this man just set her on fire and took a shirt just to make sure he got the job done. A random woman. Let's see what CNN has to say about it, though. Listen to what they don't say.
Sebastian Zapeta Khalil is 33 years old. He's originally from Guatemala, and he is facing murder in the first and second degrees.
33. What did I tell you about the age range? He's 33 years old.
Degree and arson charges. He was remanded back into custody, and he is expected to appear back in court next Friday. We have heard from the Brooklyn District Attorney Eric Gonzalez in this case. He has said that he expects to prosecute the case to the full extent of the law. And it is a case that has just really put a focus on a big issue here in New York City, and that is the safety of the public transit system, as well as public safety in general, mental illness, as well as homelessness. Both the suspect and the victim in this case are believed to have been homeless. The suspect has spent the last few months checking in and out of homeless shelters, and the woman, who has yet to be identified, also believed to be homeless by law enforcement officials.
I'm going to take that back one more time and see if you guys catch that. Notice what she does not say. Take it back just a little bit about the issues going on.
That he expects to prosecute the case to the full extent of the law. And it is a case that has just really put a focus on a big...
It really put a focus on, it really put a focus on this case, really put a focus on, and then here's what she lists.
Issue here in New York City, and that is the safety of the public transit system, as well as public safety in general, mental illness, as well as homelessness. Both the suspect...
Safety of public transit, that's the trains, public safety, and mental illness and homelessness. She lists 4 different things. None of the things that she lists is illegal immigration. She says it puts the spotlight on all of the things, but she deliberately omits illegal immigration. She deliberately does not say nothing about illegal immigrants. She said it puts a spotlight on homelessness. Okay, this is going to be a thing that the Democrats are going to start doing. They're not going to call any of them illegal anymore. They're not even going to say any of them are immigrants anymore. All of a sudden, they're all going to say that every single last one of them are homeless. Watch, because they're already doing it. Just watch. She's not saying that this is a problem based off of illegal immigration. I'm going to tell you one thing. In America, that's not how we get down. This is seen as abnormal and gruesome. Back in Guatemala, that's how they get down in Guatemala. Let's be honest. This is how they get down in those other countries. That's what they do. That's how they roll. That's how they roll in other countries. They be burning people alive and stuff. We don't do that here. We look at burning people alive like some gruesome and horrific thing that we just wouldn't do. We're like, oh, burning somebody alive. And they would do it in public. They'll set up, and we've seen it. I'm not going to show it because I wouldn't show it, and then YouTube wouldn't want me to show it. But we've seen this, where they would set up a pile of little 2x4s and stuff like that, get a match, and then throw somebody in the fire in these other countries. And they do it in broad daylight. People watching around, they got their phones just recording somebody burning to death. We've seen that. That doesn't happen in this country. This is why you can't just allow any and everybody to come over here, because there are certain things we do not do here that they do over there that is normal for them over there, that is not nor should not be normal over here. This is why we need ICE to come and get them out of here. I'm gonna be very clear with you. This is exactly why we need ICE to come and get them up out of here, because there's stuff that they do all the time. It's not in Guatemala. Don't even play. In Guatemala, we all know what they get, how they get down is public executions and stuff. We know this. Over here, we don't do that. Even though there's an execution process, which is the death penalty, even though that am I frozen? What? Am I frozen, y'all? Oh, what the hell? Okay. No, I'm not frozen. Okay. Hold on for 1 second. Because my screen is frozen. Okay. What the hell? Hold on. Wait a oh my God. What the hell? Okay, I'm back. I don't know what happened. It was just, it froze on my screen. My screen was completely frozen. Okay. Oh my God. Okay, hold on for 1 second. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Damn, I was cooking too. It interrupted me. All right. Because I was cooking and my screen froze. Y'all screen didn't freeze, but my screen completely froze. And I couldn't click anything for a second. Just completely froze. But I was cooking. All right. But let me get back to what I was saying before I was rudely interrupted. All right. Let me get back to what I was saying before I was rudely interrupted. This is the problem of letting these people come over here, because they do stuff like this that we don't do. They do stuff like this that we don't do. We don't do that. That is not normal. Okay. We got some people who got mental problems. We got people who have drug problems. We have people who have a lot of issues. We don't have this. This is not normal. You don't do this, especially the random people. You couldn't go to the hardest BDs, GDs, Bloods, Crips. American gangs don't just do this to random people. I want y'all to keep this in mind. This woman is random. This isn't a rival gang member or something like that. Even the rival gang members, you don't see BDs and GDs doing this. Yeah, they might pop you. They ain't gonna set you ablaze. They ain't gonna do all that. Not in no subway, especially. They ain't gonna do that. But this is who the Democrats have allowed to come over here. This is who Biden allowed to come over here. This is who Kamala allowed to come over here. So when Trump says, hey, they got to go, I agree. When Tom Homan says, hey, they got to go, I agree. I couldn't agree more. They all got to go. All of them. Every single last one of them. And we're going to figure out a proper process and everything once they gone. But what we need is a clean house. What we need is a clean house. To be honest, the process, and I ain't even really too big on the process, but that's what they saying. But what we need is a clean house right now. And people are getting on board. I want y'all to see this clip. What you have now is you have the mayor of New York, Eric Adams. Eric Adams is getting on board to a degree. Now, Eric Adams is not doing this to be on code with black people. Eric Adams is doing this to help his own self for his own political future, or his future of staying out of prison, because he needs a pardon from Trump, because he's got some legal stuff going on right now. He's got some legal troubles going on for himself. So Eric Adams is looking out for his own ass. Let's be clear. But he's getting on board. Listen to this.
Trump won by 11 points in the Bronx and in Queens. He cut in half Biden's lead in New York. What do you say to what these individuals are saying? Do you agree with them?
Wholeheartedly. That we stopped speaking to people, we started speaking at people. I think I like to say it's a cryptocurrency moment. You know, when I first started, said I was going to invest in cryptocurrency, people laughed at me. Who's laughing now? And when I first got elected in 2022, I told the party it's public safety. People are tired of the revolving door where people are constantly committing violent crimes and back on our streets. We ignored it. I talked about the affordability issue. I talked about the migrants and asylum seeker issue. I mean, Iowa caucus showed that is one of the top issues. Not hearing the people and you engaging in dialogue while individuals are fearful of affordability, losing their home, the future of their children, and you having these intellectual conversations, and people are like saying, what the hell are you talking about? I'm hurting, and you're asking, is Donald Trump Hitler or not? It's just not talking to the real needs of people.
So you have been strong on those issues. I look back at the things that you were saying over the years. Obviously, you spent
all of this stuff is interesting. This is not what he was on. This is not the energy he was on when he first got in office. I want you to keep this in mind. When he first got in office, now he's trying to change up now. He's trying to change up now. Be all like, hey, I've been saying this. I've been on this page. I've been trying to tell him. Ain't nobody was listening to me though. But I've been telling them this for the longest time. Adams, if you don't go sit down somewhere, nobody is playing with you. Adams, we know you said, Eric Adams literally said, y'all can all Google this if y'all haven't heard it yourself. He said he was the Biden of Brooklyn. He was the Biden of Brooklyn. He was the Joe Biden of Brooklyn. He wanted to be just like Joe Biden, according to Eric Adams himself. He damn near looked at Joe Biden like he was not even a friend, like an older brother or a father figure to Eric Adams. Eric Adams was sleeping outside on the ground with a whole bunch of illegals. So now he's gonna sit up there and be all like, man, I've been saying from the very beginning that they needed to change all this stuff. Now I've been trying to tell them, and ain't nobody was listening to me now, but now people listen to me. And when I said I was going to invest in cryptocurrency, people thought I was crazy, but now nobody think I'm crazy because everybody know I was right, and I was right the whole time. Eric, you didn't start getting on this page until very recently, and the only reason why you on this page now is because people been pulling up your paperwork and you got court cases coming up. People been pulling up your paperwork and receipts, finding out where some money went, and they saying, hey, Eric, we're gonna need to see you in court. So Eric, now all of a sudden, now you've been telling people about this the whole time. Okay, sure.
Decades as a New York City police officer, but when you came into office, you were asked on ABC if you were concerned that being a sanctuary city was going to create a magnet to New York. And here's what you said.
Not at all. The city has always been a sanctuary city, and we've always managed those who wanted to come to New York City to pursue the American dream.
But now, you know, people see Tren de Aragua in Times Square. They see gang members and criminals who are getting arrested and getting released, put back out on the street. $6.6 billion on migrants in New York City. People complain that the city is dirty. What do you say to those who say that your turn on this, and you're sitting down with Tom Homan last week and talking about making a safer New York, came too late?
I'm gonna say one thing. I don't like Fox. I don't like really any news publication. All right? Be clear. I will give Fox this. When Fox does their interviews, Fox got the receipts. You gotta give credit where credit is due. I will give credit where credit is due. When Fox have their interviews, they got receipts on you. It's not even an interview, it's damn near a prosecution. Okay. They be all like, I know you said this on this day, but this is a clip, and then they'll play the whole clip. They'll play the clip and be all like, well, but you said this on this day. So what's that about? That ain't nobody else doing that. Fox will check you, okay, immediately, and have you stumbling and bumbling the way they did Kamal and everything. Now with MSNBC, they'll say, sir, that's not true. Sir, that's not true. With Fox will be all like, actually, sir, we have a picture right here. Can you explain this picture? They'll pick up like, well, sir, actually, hold on. Let me see if I can find it here. Oh, right here. Sir, why did you say this right here? These are your words, and then this is a video. Let me show you the tablet of the video. That Fox got receipts on you. I will give that to Fox, especially when they up against some type of Democrats or something. Fox got receipts. They was all like, well, I mean, you said that New York was not going to be a target for sanctuary cities back then. Let me show you the clip. Okay, this is 4K. Okay, you see it right here? Okay, it's right there. Play it right now. Turn the volume up. Play it right. I will give Fox. I'll give you that. I will give Fox that. And then the person like, oh, okay. So they're like, oh, okay, you see that? So what's up with the switch up? Damn, that's some dirty work. Now, no wonder they call Fox. No wonder. They will sneak up on you.
What do you say to those who say that your turn on this, and you're sitting down with Tom Homan last week and talking about making a safer New York, came too late?
Well, and this is why this is so important, to be able to not have a bumper sticker understanding of a policy and a person's belief, but engaging in real conversations, which we don't do that much often anymore. Sanctuary city is totally different from a man-made crisis that we saw. This is what sanctuary city states. If you're in this city and you are paying taxes, you buy a loaf of bread, you pay taxes, those are your tax dollars. You have a right to the services of the city. You have a right to the police officers. You should not be fearful to put your children in school and get health care. That's what a sanctuary city is.
Dude, yeah, boy, ain't you stretching? Ain't he stretching? He said, if you buy a loaf of bread, you got a right to put your children in the schools in the city because you paying taxes, because there's taxes on that bread. It's not, you not really paying taxes. You're not real. Boy, are you stretching that? If that is the, I've been paying taxes ever since I was a kid. If that's the case, ever since I was a child. I remember one time I bought some Spider-Man stickers back when I was like, what, 8 years old or something like that. I literally had 4 quarters, and you can buy a pack of stickers with 4 quarters at the dollar store. I remember that. I've been paying taxes. I remember that. I've been paying. If that's paying taxes, we've all been paying taxes our entire lives since we were children. And he's saying with that, you get the rights to the services of the city so you can put your children in the schools. Boy, is that a stretch. Is that a stretch? Okay, well, we need to really do this whole thing, because I think you need more. You need to contribute more to the society than buying a loaf of bread. I think you need to contribute a little bit more.
What a sanctuary city is not is having an unsecure border and allowing gang members to come in, paroling people into the country where you're telling them you can't work for 6 months.
Had a good idea. Can we get some bread? Can we put a loaf of bread in the chat room? Let's put a loaf of bread. I want everybody to put the bread emoji in the chat room for all of the tax-paying citizens who be buying bread, who be paying their taxes in bread. Like this is the medieval times. You don't pay, you buy bread, you pay your taxes in bread, you pay your tithes in bread. Like this is, we're in medieval times. We're paying our tithes in bread. All right. Shout out to bread, and shout out to the bread eaters and bread makers.
Or a year, and you have to be dependent on the local cities to take care of you. We're saying that as a sanctuary city, if you're here and you are participating legally, you are provided the services as you start your pathway to get citizenship or legal status. That has always been what took place in this city, but it is not a safe haven for those who are committing criminal acts or trying to harm migrants, asylum seekers, and other New Yorkers.
Well, you see what Trinidad Aragua is doing in Aurora, Colorado, torturing 15 people, taking over at least a couple of apartment buildings there. You know, what do you say to the people of your city who feel like this is out of control? You've got 11% of the Manhattan hotel rooms are occupied right now by migrants. And a lot of people out there, despite what you say about the situation, think that you let it go too far.
And listen, they were angry. And many of them were angry because they didn't understand. They said, Eric, what are you doing? Why are you allowing these buses to come?
Now, listen to him try to explain. Now Eric is going to be trying to explain this away. Listen to this.
Man, hey, I can't stop them from coming in. That's against federal law. Well, why don't you let them work like all immigrants have done and found their way? Federal government told me, Eric, you can't allow them to work. You know what, Eric? You can't even allow them to volunteer to clean the streets, remove graffiti, and give them a stipend. That's against federal law. And then I have city law that told me there's a right to shelter law. Anyone that comes in the city, anywhere on the globe, can come here and get shelter for as long as they want.
No, first off, okay, let me pause it. Because Eric is going to say, I can't, and this is why I keep bringing up the referendum. Now, to my knowledge, New York has not had a referendum on getting rid of the sanctuary status. All right. But I know this is the play that the Democrats do. They do the whole, oh, well, I can't stop them from coming over here. I can't stop the buses from coming over here. I can't stop them. The buses are not coming over now, though. So what's going on? I can't stop them from coming over. Okay. And then they said, well, Eric, why don't you let them work? Nobody was asking Eric to let them work. Eric was trying to let them work himself. That's what he wanted. The people of New York, and I have callers from New York calling all the time. The people from New York was not saying, Eric, please let them work. Let them get a job. That's not what anybody from New York was saying. All of the foundational Black Americans from New York were saying, let them go back. Take them back. Send them back. Nobody was saying, well, Eric, you got to let them get a job. Nobody was saying that. Eric was the one saying that. If that's the case, check this out. You let them get a job, right? You was willing to pay them. That is very interesting. He said this. He said he was willing to pay them a stipend to clean up the streets and get rid of graffiti, get, water and stuff like that, and scrape the graffiti off the walls and off the concrete and stuff. He was willing to pay them just to volunteer. Do you know how many homeless people we have in New York right now? We were just talking about Jordan Neely a little bit ago, a couple weeks ago. We were just talking about Jordan Neely a couple weeks ago. Do you have any idea how many of them could use that benefit that you were legally trying to find some type of loophole to give to illegal aliens? You are literally trying to give them a job without really giving them a job. They're volunteering, but they're getting paid. They haven't, so they're kind of working. So you are trying to get them a job illegally, and there are homeless people who could do the same thing that you were trying to get them to do. So all of the homeless people will be all, hey, there's just not enough work, there's not enough this. But Eric was saying he was going to try to find a way to do that for illegals. This is what he said. He couldn't do that for Jordan Neely. He couldn't do that for a whole bunch of homeless people. The homeless lady who wound up burning to death in New York couldn't help her out, but he was willing to do all of this stuff for illegals. And let's say you couldn't do none of that. You couldn't do it for the homeless. You couldn't do it for the illegals. Let's say that for the sake of the argument. Did you have to? Who made you give them debit cards worth of thousands of dollars of food stamps? Oh, my bad. Worth of thousands of dollars, and then you claim it's just for food. That's what you claim. You say, oh no, this only works at the grocery store. Just believe us. That's what you claim. But even if we say that's the case, who made you do that? Because you keep telling us about what you couldn't do, but you're not talking about what you did do. You did give them thousands of dollars worth of food each. Jordan Neely was talking to himself because he was hungry. You know how many hungry people walk through the subway? Citizens walking through the subway every day. They don't get $100 a month worth of food not from the government, but you giving them thousands of dollars a month. So Eric, we are not playing this game with you. Well, you act like you all of a sudden when people have to talk about the results, when it's time to analyze the results of the job that they've done, they act like, and this is what the Democrats do all the time, they always act like their hands were tied behind their backs and there was literally nothing they could do. There was no avenue they could take. There was no option on the table. There was absolutely nothing, and they tried their absolute hardest. Oh, and this is what the Democrats do every time, and this is exactly why Kamala Harris lost. This is why she lost, because they will run a city to the ground. They will run a state to the ground. They will run a country to the ground. And then when they get in front of an interview or they get in front of a camera, they say, my hands was tied behind my back and there was nothing I could do. I couldn't do nothing. The entire time I've been in office, I couldn't do nothing. They stopped me every single time. I wish I could, but I just couldn't. Every time. They will never admit where they went wrong. And this is what Eric Adams is trying to do too. So now we're supposed to believe that this entire time, Eric Adams, who claimed to be the Biden of Brooklyn, who was sleeping on the floor with illegal aliens, is now claiming he was trying to fix the situation, but his hands was quote unquote tied behind his back. That's what we're supposed to believe. Okay. I don't buy that at all.
Had to go to court and fight that and give a 30 and 60-day notification. That's how we dropped 220,000 that came here to now 50,000, because we said you only going to stay in our shelter for 30 days. And we were fought on that. And so, yes, people were angry. They saw the headlines, look what our mayor is doing, but in reality, the mayor was handcuffed. So what I had to do was make sure my police protected those who were the victims of these crimes.
I forgot he would say that. I just said they all say they were handcuffs. I just say that. They all say my hands were tied behind my back. And he literally, this is how I know the Democrats so well. When I recorded this clip, I didn't even peep he said that. I just know this is what they say. And then right after I said it, he said it. I said, they all say their hands were tied behind their back. Play, my hands were handcuffed. Wow. I just know him that well.
And made sure that I had to follow the housing laws that were in place, but while we fought them in court.
So you have butted heads with your city council a lot on the things that you wanted to change. Their chamber is right down the hall here. You must run into each other all the time in these halls. Other mayors are taking a different tack. Brandon Johnson in Chicago and the mayor of Boston saying, we will not bend or break to the Trump mass deportation rule. This is what people in the city council meeting, these are residents in Chicago. Here's what they're saying about their mayor's stance on this. Watch this.
You caused all.
Look, there go Miss Jackson. Is Miss Jackson still in the room? Oh, yeah, she's still in the room. Look, you want. Even when they talking about New York, they be bringing up Miss Jackson. When I tell you Chicago is on business, standing on business, they can't talk. And this is what I said. Anytime they talk about any type of immigration at all, they always go back to Chicago. That Chicago is the face of the mass deportation. Okay. Anytime they talking about New York, and then they bring up Miss Jackson from Chicago. All right. And what I tell you about Fox, I told you Fox don't be playing with those receipts. I said Fox don't be. Fox got clips already set up. They just be sitting on it. They be sitting on it, be like, bam, there you go. Bam, there you go. Play the clip. Oh, yeah. You said you wouldn't work with. Play the clip. I know they love that line. They turn around, play the clip, turn it up. He can't hear it. Turn it up. Oh, I know they love that. I know they love it.
Rule. This is what people in the city council meeting, these are residents in Chicago. Here's what they're saying about their mayor's stance on this. Watch this.
You caused all this money to go to illegal immigrants. We want a forensic audit of the money that was spent on illegal immigration.
Can you do the job, Mr. Brandon Johnson? And it's looking like you can't do the job. We need to start voting different in these cities like New York and Chicago.
That last voice, we have to start voting differently in these cities like New York and Chicago. Do you see a movement happening in cities when you look at what happened in the election? And are these voices going to change these blue cities potentially into red ones?
That's a good question. And that's why I believe that the Democratic Party must ensure that they're listening to the voices of the people. The American people, they spoke loudly and clearly, and they stated that we have to secure our borders, we have to deal with the immigration crisis, and we have to address those violent individuals who come to this country. It's a privilege and a right to be in America.
We're not just talking about the violent ones. No, we're talking about all of them. We're talking about all of them, because even the ones who are not committing violent crimes, a lot of them are still committing crimes, which is why they always notice Eric is always trying to specify violent crimes as if that's the only type of crime. No, a lot of them are committing crimes. They're just not violent crimes. If you break into a Macy's store and run out with $2,000-3,000 worth of merchandise, that's a crime. That's not a violent crime. You didn't harm anybody. Nobody was harmed. You can break into somebody's car, carjack them, steal their car when they in the house. That's not a violent crime. Nobody was harmed, but that's still a crime. Okay. So let's just be aware when they say the word violent crime. We're not just talking about people being harmed. And then let's be honest. I'm not just talking about the criminals. I'm not just talking about the criminals. Oh, no, they all need to go. All of them. Yes, indeed. The people who are coming over here and they're getting thousands of dollars worth of food stamps, they're not committing crimes. They still need to go. We're not just gonna do the thing. Well, yeah, I mean, the ones who committing crimes need to go, but the rest can stay. No, all of them can go because ain't none of them supposed to be here. We're not just gonna handpick the ones committing the worst type of crimes and get them out. No, we need a little bit more cooperation than that. We need all of them to get up out of here. That's what we need. We need a whole fresh restart, okay? Because y'all giving them our money. That's how I see it. Y'all giving them our money, our resources. So no, they all need to go, whether they committing crimes or not. We're not gonna play that game.
If you violate that, you should not be in this country. That number of people, which I believe is a small number, committing those violent acts, like the gangs that we've mentioned, should not be here.
So let's talk about the gangs. Let's talk about what you agreed to with Tom Homan. Violent criminals will be deported under the Trump mass deportation. What constitutes a violent criminal? Is that someone who is accused, someone who has been convicted, someone who wears gang tattoos? You know, where do you draw the line? Did you make that line with him?
No, we did not. I thought our conversation was a great conversation. Tom and I both sat down, and we both agree on violent individuals should not remain in our country. We have laws here in the city on how that could be handled. My legal team is going to sit down with his legal team to make the determination if an executive order can change that. One of the things he would like to have is that's access to Rikers Island. That's the jail in our city. The law that was passed under the previous administration said that no ICE officer can be in any governmental building. There are exceptions to that. We're looking at those exceptions. That's my core issue. I've said it prior to the election. We can't allow people to come into the country or the city committing violent acts. And those numbers who are doing it, we need to address that. And I'm happy to have a partner in Tom to see how do we address that in a real way.
So is
see, that seemed like a lot of word salad. And I let it play. That seemed like a lot of word salad. Because honestly, what did he just say? What does he mean? We don't know what he means because we don't really know what he said. What did he just say? I mean, we don't know, but we're going to sit down and y'all already sat down and talked. What did y'all discuss that whole time? Yeah, we sat down and talked to have a conversation about the next time we're going to talk about seeing a way to figure something out. What? What does that mean? What anything he just said meant? So yeah, he's still playing games.
Are gang tattoos that are TDA enough to get someone removed in that first group?
No, it's not. No, it's not. And because we got to also ensure that we're not violating the laws of our land. And the mere fact someone is wearing a gang tattoo, which is an identifiable marker of this gang, is not enough to say, okay, you have a gang tattoo, now you must be removed. But what we should be doing at our border, we can be making that determination. Are we going to allow you to come in? We're allowing people to come in. Think about this for a moment. We're allowing people to come in without a sponsor, without any employment, and we're telling them, you can't work. So what are they going to do? We're creating a pipeline of criminality.
Now, do you see that? Now, let them.
Creating these terrible criteria.
Are you?
Now, Eric's biggest thing, and this is how, this is why I made sure I played the whole clip, okay? Because Eric Adams' biggest thing, I'm going to take it back real quick so you can hear it. The whole, we're allowing them to come over and then we're telling them you can't work.
Be doing at our border, we can be making that determination. Are we going to allow you to come in? We're allowing people to come in. Think about this for a moment. We're allowing people to come in without a sponsor, without any employment, and we're telling them you can't work. So,
see, this is Eric Adams' problem. Eric Adams' problem is not the fact that they're coming in here taking all the resources. That's not his problem. It's not the fact that they're coming over here committing all these crimes. That's not the problem. Eric, and this is what he kept going to Joe Biden about, is the work visas. And we've reported on this for a while. Eric is upset because he's all like, hey, we're spending money on them and they're not working because these are supposed to be the replacement working class people, but they're not able to legally work at all. So they can't really be an effective replacement working class people if they don't have the ability to work. And notice Eric keeps saying that in the interview, oh, they're not working, they're not working, they're not working, and the whole thing, they're not working, they're not working. This is Eric's thing. He's not there to be all like, hey, it's illegal, they shouldn't be here, it's wrong. Eric's thing is he wants them there, but he wants them to work. That's it. If Biden gave Eric Adams the workers visas or whatever type of pass he needed, whatever type of exception, if he allowed Eric Adams to do whatever type of exception, whether that was voluntary, then giving him a little bit of money, a stipend, or whether that was allowing them to get the work visas, Eric wouldn't be tripping like this. Eric is tripping like this because he wants them to work. Not he wants them gone, not because it's taking up too much room in the city, not because it's taking up too much resources from the city, not because it's a danger to the city. Oh, because they can't work. And he wants more illegal workers. That's Eric. Okay. So everybody who might be reporting on this, Fox News, all of them, making it seem like Eric Adams is turning a new leaf, not really. So he was mad at Biden because Biden did not give Eric Adams the work visas when Eric Adams kept begging him to. And Biden said, man, go get lost. Biden stopped returning his phone calls. Biden stopped returning his text messages. Biden stopped picking up the phone. Biden stopped returning the emails. Biden didn't want to see him no more. He went to the White House, didn't even see Biden. He was all like, yo, you can meet my assistant. I'm taking a nap. So then Eric threw a little temper tantrum. And then next thing you know, Eric is getting all these cases put on him. So now Eric is in this situation where he's mad at Biden for betraying him, kind of turning his back. And he's also trying to get these cases off his back.
What are they going to do? We're creating a pipeline of criminality by creating these terrible criteria.
Are you going to find a way?
You created a pipeline of criminality by allowing thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people that have not been vetted at all. This is it. You allow this person to come into New York. You mean to tell me his problem was the fact that he didn't have a work visa? That's what you mean to tell me? Is that what you're trying to tell me? You mean to tell me this person wouldn't have took a match out his pocket and set a homeless woman on fire randomly if he had a work visa? Oh, so that was the problem. He thought setting a woman on fire was going to get him a work visa. That's what he thought. I mean, he was deported multiple times before. So maybe every single time he was deported, he was trying to get a work visa. And he thought this time, if he did something to get his name out there, he could get a work visa. Is that what you're saying? So the problem is not the fact that they're coming over and they're not legal and we don't know where they are, or where they're from, and what their culture is and what their background is. The problem is the fact that they're not working. That's the problem, according to Eric Adams. Yeah.
Way through executive orders to allow ICE to function in this city to carry out deportations?
We're going to allow them to, the areas where we can allow them to do. Right now, I could allow ICE to come on into Rikers Island, anything but for deportation. But allowing them access to do criminal investigation is going to help us all. But we're going to sit down with our attorneys and see what executive orders I can do to give me more power to go after those who are creating illegal acts. Now, we're going to also, I want to be very...
All of them creating illegal acts. All of them. Ain't none of them supposed to be here. They are all criminals. Every single last one of them. All of them. All of them. All of them. All of them. Okay? Shout out to Antithesis for the Cash App. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so very much. Let me get to DSB. DSB sends another super chat. DSB has been generous with the super chats. He says, exactly, facts and truth you're speaking, family. These tethers have no idea what FBA brothers and sisters have been through under this wicked American government ship. Yeah, they don't. So when Brandon Johnson tried to do the whole thing of, well, the Great Migration is kind of like their migration, it is not. I did a whole live stream explaining 5 different key differences between the Great Migration and what they're doing. The Great Migration was not fleeing. It was not. All right. It wasn't. Absolutely. Shout out to Gogo. Gogo sends a super chat saying, thanks for all you do, young lion. I appreciate you. Thank you. And thank you all for supporting. I really, really do. I appreciate that tremendously. But I'm going to be honest. We just around the corner. We at the tail end of December. 2024 is about to be up in less than a week. We've had a very, very jam-packed year. A very jam-packed year. But Donald Trump is coming in office. Donald Trump said, listen, I'm not playing with y'all. All of them about to go. Every single last one of them is about to get up out of here. We putting them on boats. We putting them on planes. We putting them on trucks and everything. They all going back. Guatemala, Venezuela, the Nicaragua, whatever, Mexico, wherever. It's just not here. He pulled the line. You ain't got to go home, but you can't stay here. That's what Donald Trump said. He said, listen, wherever you go, just make sure it's not in the United States of America. That's all I know, and that's all I care about. Now, you got knuckleheads trying to fight against him, claiming to be a descendant of American slaves. Paperwork ain't come back positive on that one. And he said he claimed to be FBA. The paperwork didn't come back positive on that yet. Oh, no. Nope. As a matter of fact, your paperwork not looking good for you, buddy. Not looking good. Saying that you're going to fight against Donald Trump. Donald Trump like, oh, he said, I say less. He said, my buddy Tom got you. Tom said, I sure do. And I've been wanting to get him first. He says, you know what? Out of all of the places I'm coming to your place first. He said, Chicago is first on my list, and you can get rid of me if you want to. He said, I'm coming in with the crew, and we taking everything over. Tom Homan said, we rolling deep in here. He said, I got the whole support. Unlike you, Brandon, unlike Brandon Johnson, Tom Homan actually has the support of his president. Brandon, when you went to Joe Biden was all like, oh, I really no. Oh, money left. I gave it all to Venezuela. It's all gone. It's all gone. So I don't have any money left. But Donald Trump said, hey, anything you need, I got you. He said, I will sign my name, Donald J. Trump, on the check. You put the number on it. Just get rid of them. Anything you need, I got you. Okay? So, yeah, Tom Homan got the support of Donald Trump. Unlike Brandon, unlike Eric. So, yeah, you can hoop and holler all you want to. Say you're going to defend them. Say you're going to stand by them. Say you're going to do all of this and that. But the people ain't with that. He can get mad and he can say, I'm going to defend them. No, that's not going to work. His little plan to merge the migrant shelter and the homeless shelter and try to change the term that he refers to them as homeless. He's going to try to change that. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. It's not going to work. He can get out of here with that. It's not going to work. I'll be there being all like, I've seen him before. I used to give him chicken nuggets one time. I remember I was driving through. I've seen him before. He's legal. Okay. He's been here for at least about 6 years. So he's legal. He's not. I'll be there. I will be there helping ICE. I'll be there helping ICE. They'll be like, I'm not sure exactly which one. I'll be like, hey, sir, I know him. Okay. He be telling me crazy stories about Vietnam all the time. I know him. He got to go. He got to go. Get him. Get that baby. I'm sorry, but you got to get the baby too. That baby, she holding the baby. Just pick the baby up. I'll be there. I'll be there helping. That baby, see that old lady, that cane, she don't need no cane. I saw her working the other day. She don't need no cane. She faking. Grab the cane because she's going to use it as a weapon to get you. Get the, man, y'all don't know how cooperative I be. Okay. I'm going to be down there. I'm going to be down there, point them all out. They going to have community help. They don't need the police department. They don't need the police department. I'll be down there getting them all. I get them all ready for you. When Tom Homan get foot in Chicago, I'll be like, Tom, buddy, look, I already got them in the back. They're already in the back. They all lined up. Just get the truck and put them in there. I'll make Tom's job easy for him. We're going to all be there doing a lot of good community service. It's community service at this point because Donald Trump is going to be the president. I'm not snitching. I am participating in community work. That's what I'm doing. Okay, this is work for the benefit of the community. This is community work. I'll be down there wrapping them all up and everything like that. They be in there trying to hit the, you know how they had this that thing where they hit the door. You know what I'm saying? That big battering ram. They all like, and 1, and 2. I'll be like, let me do it. I'll grab it. I'll bam, bust that door open. I'm like, get him. He's running. Go to the back. Man, y'all don't know. Y'all don't want to play with me. Y'all don't want to play with me. Okay. Y'all do not want to play with me. I'm not just going to call ICE. I will be there present with them. Okay. I'll be there present. I'll chase them. Y'all don't know. Y'all don't know. I want to have the battering ram and everything. I'll be all like, you probably gonna need some handcuffs. The zip ties, he might break through the zip ties and he might slip through the zip ties. Give me the handcuffs, man. Y'all don't know. Shout out to Christina. Christina says winter is coming. It says January 20th, 2025, B1. Oh yeah, winter is coming. Oh, they better be ready because ain't nobody playing games with them. And I want y'all to know, as they all getting deported, it's not Donald Trump who's doing it. It's not Tom Homan who's doing it. It's us. We are the ones doing it. It's me and you all. Because had it not been for us, Donald Trump nor Tom would even be in the position they're in right now. It's all of us who's doing this. We are doing this. We've led the charge this far, and we just going to finish to make sure the job is done right. We ain't even going to leave it up to Tom and Trump. We going to be like, hey, we got y'all this far. We might as well stick around and make sure y'all get all of them. That's how we going to be. We led y'all to this point. We just going to make sure the job is done. That's how we are. That's the type of time we on right now. That's the type of time. There's a lot going on in Chicago. I still need to talk about the budget. There was so much going on in City Hall. I got so many clips and stuff like that. So many people asking me about what's going on in the City Hall and the budget and everything like that. I was talking about that on my last live stream where I discussed Chicago, and I will be talking about that again soon. So y'all make sure y'all stay tuned for that. All right. Y'all make sure that you guys follow me on my various social media pages. That is Afro Elite on Instagram and then the Afro Elite on X. And the links to both of those are in the description below. Rosa, I don't think I've seen your, I don't know if you're still in the chat room, but you got to send me an email. I don't think I've seen it. I don't think I've seen it. And then let me know, be like, put something in the subject thing, mod or something like that. Put that in the subject thing so I would know. Y'all make sure, because we did phenomenal. I want to appreciate every single last one of y'all. I want to thank every single last one of you all for blowing up our last live stream. All right. We was on there for like 4 hours. Blew it up. Appreciate y'all. Reach new heights, new goals in 2024, just like we will in 2025. So I need you guys. We're going to keep the same energy. Let's hit this like button. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed. If you guys have not done so, if you're a new subscriber, thank you all so very much. If you guys are an OG subscriber, thank you all. I appreciate and love y'all. And hit that notification bell and then leave a comment. Leave in the comment. Let me know how well y'all going to be working with ICE. Let me know what ICE going to be able to do. Because Brandon Johnson is out here saying that we don't want them to go through the same suffering that our people went through. Man, let them know ICE ain't ICE. We ICE. We are the ICE now. We are the ICE. Okay, we the ICE and the sauce. We been had the sauce. Now we just got the ICE. We got ICE and sauce. They just ICE. We the new type of ICE. We the new ICE. So yeah, just let them know in the comment section. But with that being said, brothers and sisters, thank you all so very much for watching. I appreciate every single last one of you all. I sincerely do. Y'all stay blessed.